Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the KHOU Newsroom. I'm Russ Lewis. Welcome to all of you joining us on our digital platforms here on this Tuesday afternoon. We have some breaking news that we're following today. I want to bring you up to speed on what's going on at Klein Forest High School. That's in the Klein ISD in unincorporated Harris County. And we'll give you some shots from Air 11 here of the school. Some sort of firework exploded in the cafeteria there not long ago. They are ending classes early and sending everybody home right now, so that's why you see all the activity out there, but also a heavy law enforcement presence here. This started as a report to us, again, of a firework exploding in the cafeteria. This is the first day back to class after the break. Didn't sound like a huge deal at the time, but since that initial report, we've learned that the firework was in some sort of bag when it detonated. And according to the Houston Chronicle, at least a couple of people are hurt, not seriously, but hurt. And now we're hearing from our sources that ATF is involved, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So we have federal agents now on scene at Klein Forest High School investigating this, and a heavy law enforcement presence otherwise. We also have students being let out with classes canceled for the day, all after school activities canceled for the day. Buses are picking kids up. Kids who normally walk home are walking home, and parents who normally pick up their kids, if they can get there, are picking up their kids early today. Again, this is a Klein Forest High School. Some sort of explosion, a firework and a bag going off in the cafeteria. It sounded relatively minor initially, but now we have federal agents involved investigating exactly what that was. And that's really all the information we have at this point. Obviously, with Air 11 over the scene, we have crews on the ground as well. You see a couple of school buses there in the bottom of your screen leaving the area here, and you see students lined up to get on other school buses there that are stopped in front of Klein Forest High School while they investigate inside this explosion of firework going off in the cafeteria. And again, according to the Houston Chronicle, injuring at least 2 people with minor injuries from that explosion. Okay, we may have a live interview here with the public information officer for which agency? We don't know? Okay, we don't know. Some spokesperson we think may be here in a few minutes to tell us more about what's going on there. So we will keep you posted there. Can somebody watch that and tell me if that person, I'm going to move on to a couple other stories. I want to get back to that if it comes up. Okay, Randy? Is that good? So you'll yell, okay. So they will yell at me here. We're going to move on and tell you about a couple other things. But if that public information officer comes to the camera here in the next few minutes, we will take you back to Klein Forest High School live to tell you what's going on here. But again, you're looking at a live picture from Air 11. You see all those students out there. They're lined up because they're leaving school early, the first day back from Christmas break. They're getting on their buses and heading home. Some parents are picking up. Kids who are walking home are allowed to do that as well. So everything's okay at the school as far as the kids are concerned. We have a couple of injuries. Don't know if those were students or adults. We don't know how serious. Initial reports are not bad, but we're going to be asking that as well. I'm told the public information officer we'll hear from will be with Klein ISD if we get that person here on camera. Dexter, we're going to move on to the next story here, and we'll get back to this if we need to. So folks, stay with us here. HPD, want to tell you, has charged 6 people in a wobbly wheel scam, and we've talked about these for years here in Houston. They're pretty common. 4 of the people you see on the screen are still on the run. That's why we're bringing you this story today. 2 under arrest, but 4 still on the run. And if you're not familiar with the wobbly wheel scam, here's how it works. One of these people will pull up alongside you on the road and say that one of your front tires is wobbling. Looks like it's going to fall off. They get you to pull over. When they do, they offer to fix it for you with a tool or some sort of item they have with them. It's a scam, obviously. They say they fixed your vehicle, and then they either ask for or demand money for that fix. So according to HPD, they've scammed 24 people out of $8,000 at least in this scam. They operated on Westheimer between 610 and Highway 6, also on Richmond Avenue inside the 610 loop, and on South Main Street near Braeswood Boulevard. So that was the 3 areas that these folks, according to police, like to work. And at least 24 victims and $8,000 they took from people, apparently telling them they fixed a problem on their vehicle that was not legitimate. Also, I want to tell you about Astros shortstop Carlos Correa calling it the scariest moment of his life. He was in his native Puerto Rico with his wife Daniella when a big earthquake hit early this morning, 6.4, and you can see here some of the damage that it caused. So Carlos was in his hometown near the epicenter. This happened right off the coast, and his hometown is not far from the coastline. So he was there in bed asleep, he and his wife. They're awakened by the shaking. The whole room is shaking. They get up, they get dressed, they get out into the street where they see a lot of other people and they see a lot of damage as well. Carlos was on social media with his wife talking about how this was just, again, the scariest moment of his life. We know one person did die in this. That's the initial report right now. But Carlos was saying that a lot of damaged buildings, people's homes and businesses, they can't go back to because of all the damage. Initial reports here on this quake, and they've had several in Puerto Rico here in the last couple of days. This one was 6.4. So that is a big quake. And keep in mind, we were talking the difference between a 5 and a 6 earthquake. A 6 is 10 times as strong as a 5 when you're talking about magnitude of earthquake. So when you get into the 6s, that's getting to be pretty serious. Okay, we're going to have a live update hopefully here on what's going on at Klein Forest soon. We can tell you though, and this is according to the public information officer with the school district, Justin Elbert, there are 3 injuries from this explosion. Let's go back to, if we can, Dexter, the live picture. Thank you. A live picture from the ground here at Klein Forest High School. You see the heavy law enforcement presence there. Looks like sheriff's deputies at this point that we're looking at, but also federal agents are on scene here. 3 injuries from this explosion in the cafeteria, all treated and released at the scene, which of course means, thankfully, not serious injuries. But if you're just joining us, earlier today, a firework apparently in a bag exploded in the cafeteria, and there were students in there. This is the first day back from Christmas break, and what initially was, appeared to be something pretty minor, now we're hearing about some minor injuries, but also federal agents, including ATF agents, on scene now at Klein Forest High School investigating this explosion that they are telling us was a firework in a bag. But as we know, fireworks, depending on what kind it is, can be extremely powerful mortar type fireworks that can cause a huge explosion and a lot of damage. So it could be something small, could be something bigger than that. We just don't know at this point. What you're looking at here from Air 11 is of the parking lot, and you can see all those students lined up because they have canceled classes for the day, the first day back, and they are sending kids home. And you see a lot of buses here now leaving to take those kids who normally ride the bus on their way home here. I'm looking just to make sure they are leaving campus. Yes, they're not turning back onto campus. So we see several buses here, and it looks like one arriving as other students wait to get on the bus and go home. Students who normally walk home are being allowed to do that, and parents who normally pick up their kids are being allowed to come pick up their kids if they can early today. Don't know what's happening to the kids who normally get picked up whose parents can't get there. Apparently the school's been evacuated and classes, canceled for the day. So I'm going to assume here that the kids are all out into the parking lot and making their way home or waiting around. We see a group here. That group is the crowd there we see. Looks like it's diminished quite a bit since we first broke in here about 5 minutes ago to tell you what's going on there. But you see just the lineup of buses there. Some move out, others move in to pick up those students at Klein Forest. Inside, you have a heavy law enforcement presence, including federal agents, trying to figure out who set off this firework, this explosion inside the cafeteria earlier today at Klein Forest. Klein Forest in the 11,400 block of Misty Valley Drive in unincorporated Harris County. And we are waiting here, don't know how long it'll take to get to it, but we're expecting to hear from Klein ISD's public information officer, the spokesperson for the district, Justin Elbert. We're told will be speaking to us here at some point. hopefully with some more details about exactly what happened out there. We can see a lot of deputies and others out there, but doesn't look to be an urgent situation. A lot of officers standing around, just making sure everything's okay. Maybe they're looking through the building to make sure there aren't any other fireworks in bags that were left around. That was probably the concern after this one went off. Get all the kids out of the school in case there are other explosions or other fireworks that could go off. Who knows if this was just some high school prank or maybe something more serious. We just don't know at this point. We just know that some sort of firework exploded. It was in a bag and it was in the cafeteria and it went off there earlier today. So we've been bouncing back and forth here between our live ground picture and Air 11, which is overhead, giving us a wide view here of the parking lot and the school buildings. As we look here, still a lot of vehicles in the parking lot. And you see Klein Forest High School there up on the building. I see at least one ambulance there. We can tell you that the school district's confirmed 3 people injured, but treated and released at the scene there at the school. So that should tell you that the injuries were not serious. We see a fire truck there. We know that federal agents, ATF agents are on scene as well. And we're just waiting to learn more, try to figure out how serious this is. Thankfully, nobody's seriously hurt. But anytime there's an explosion of any kind inside a high school, that causes great concern for everybody involved, students, parents, administrators, and law enforcement. And these days, when you get an explosion like that, and it was placed in a bag, and there's even a hint that this might have been an effort to hurt somebody, you're going to get federal agents involved, and they're going to want to find out for sure, again, if this was just some sort of prank, something to do on the first day back to school, after the break, have some fun with some friends. Obviously not appropriate and dangerous, but it happens at high schools, right? But it also could have been something much worse than that. And that's just what we don't know at this point. If you're just joining us here on our digital platforms here on KHOU, I'm Russ Lewis in our newsroom. It's 2:50, 10 minutes before 3 o'clock, and we're sticking with our digital update here quite a bit longer than we normally do today because of what's happened at Klein Forest High School. This explosion in the cafeteria, apparently a firework in a bag, but the school has shut down for the day, canceled classes, canceled all after-school activities, including sporting events, and sent the kids home as law enforcement, including federal agents here, investigate exactly what happened. If we can, Dexter, let's go ahead and get a quick weather update from Addison Green, if we can, just to give people an idea of what's going on outside with the weather, what's coming our way. Beautiful day today, but there are things coming our way. And Addison, let's start with the obvious here, and you have it up there on the screen. The cedar pollen is wreaking some havoc with anybody who has an allergy to that.
Oh, definitely so, Ross. Been hearing from several people in the newsroom how bad it's been out there for the day today. The pollen count jumping to 121. It was around 40 yesterday at a moderate pace. So everything else is running low, but that cedar pollen is really a big concern out there across the entire metro area. And that's because after that cold front passed through earlier on today, the winds have shifted from a northwest to a northerly direction, drawing in that high concentration of cedar pollen from central portions of the state. And so while we still have that wind flow coming on in, we're still going to be dealing with that trend for those allergy concerns. Outside though, there is not a cloud to be found in the area. We do have lots of sun shining on down, pair of 6s right there, and we are noticing that the dew points are running low as we are dealing with a nice dry air mass moving on in. Temperature wise across the board, we have lots of 60s, 61 in Livingston, 66 out there at Bush, 64 in Galveston, which had a record high yesterday of 74 degrees. Now temperatures have cooled down about 10 degrees or so across the board, but we are definitely dealing with a more seasonal January air mass as opposed to yesterday, the past several days, where it's felt more like early to mid-March. But temperatures going out towards tomorrow morning right there, 7 a.m., taking the kids to the bus stop, you yourself getting ready for work. Look at those temperatures out there across the board. We have lots of 30s and some low 40s. the exception of Galveston and Crystal Beach, as you get closer towards the Gulf of Mexico. So it will be a chilly start to your Wednesday, but by the afternoon hours, the skies should get brighter and we should really get the chance to warm up nicely. That's because high pressure will still be in charge of our weather scenario, like it is doing so right now in the passage of the wake of, I should say, of that cold front that's passed on by. But we're also keeping our eyes on what's coming up next, because that cold front didn't really do much besides bring us a little cool down. This area of low pressure, or at least a piece of it, will eventually drift on down towards us by Thursday into Friday's time frame and giving us a chance for some possible shower activity, even some possible strong to severe weather. And what you're looking at right here, we have the upper level winds, the colored arrows, the surface winds, the white, and as we dive on down towards the surface, we can start to see a little bit of some action going on in terms of setting the stage for potentially some strong to severe weather. We have an area of low pressure right there. This is going to be the surface trough right there, cold front right there, going up across areas near Dallas, and we are getting these southerly winds coming on in across our area, drawing in that warmth, drawing in that moisture. Well, we're going to have the lift. We're going to have a little bit of some instability. We'll have the moisture. It's a question of will we have all those dynamics put together to get the chance for seeing those thunderstorms develop and turn supercellular. Afterwards, go out towards Saturday morning. Here's that cold front now, pushing out there towards New Orleans. So we'll have a dry, cooler northwesterly flow coming on in, which will allow our temperatures to cool down throughout the day on Saturday. So our high temperature on Saturday is going to occur a little after midnight, and then we'll be cooling on down ever since then. Take a look at what we do have going for the terms of the precipitation amounts coming on in. Not picking up a ton of rainfall, maybe on average about 3/4 of an inch to an inch or so, but some areas definitely have that potential to do a lot more in terms of adding up in those rain gauges. Beaumont forecasted to pick up over 2 inches of rain. So we could be seeing a soak over time coming our way. That's the European model. GFS model does show a pretty similar trend. Rainfall amounts about 0.4 of an inch to close to an inch or so across the board. For tonight, skies are clear. We do have a nice quiet feeling in the air as well as a chilly feeling. We have temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. No rain chances at all. And then for tomorrow, sunny and pleasant, wind shift later on in the day from an easterly to southeasterly direction, trying to draw more warmth and more moisture across your area. In which case, it'll set the stage for the potential for scattered showers on Thursday. They'll be light, more of a nuisance shower as opposed to heavy downpours. Those come on in Friday afternoon as that cold front starts to push towards our area. Once it passes Friday night into Saturday morning, temperatures begin to drop. We'll be drying out throughout the day on Saturday. And actually, your weekend's looking pretty good, especially compared to how Monday and Tuesday could be, where we do have a chance for bringing around us, unfortunately, some more wet weather across our area.
All right, Addison, thanks very much. We're going to take it back here in the newsroom here. Russ Lewis with you, and we're waiting to hear from the spokesperson for the Klein Independent School District here about what's going on at Klein Forest High School right now. I want to just kind of get you, this is a live picture from the ground, and we expect the spokesperson to be out there at some point. Looked like they were ready a few minutes ago to tell us what was going on, then they backed off. Probably want to get some more information before they came out before the cameras and started talking about this. But from our own Brett Buffington, KHOU reporter, who is on his way to the scene, but he's been checking in with his sources on the way, he says that as of right now, DPS, ATF, Harris County Sheriff's Office, and the Harris County Fire Marshal's Office are all out at Klein Forest High School right now investigating. Also, he's been told that explosion that went off in the cafeteria in a bag was some sort of firework mortar, as he put it, and he put the mortar in quotes here in his tweet. So if it's a mortar, that would be one of the bigger, fireworks, not something you just set on the ground and, like a sparkler type firework, but this is something that shoots into the air and causes a big explosion, the professional type fireworks. If it was something like that, if that's what he means by mortar, then you could see how that going off inside a cafeteria could cause quite a bit of damage and could cause the 3 minor injuries that we've been told occurred in the cafeteria at Klein Forest. So that kind of makes sense if that's what it was. It was in a bag of some kind when it went off. That's been pretty consistent information we've been getting since we've been learning about this. I don't know if that's what got federal agents involved, the fact that it was in a bag, that maybe that qualifies at that point as an explosive device, as a bomb. I don't know, but something got the attention of ATF agents, and that's why they are out there as part of this investigation. Can't tell you anything about who may have done this. Don't know if they have any idea, if they've brought that person into custody at this point. That'll be one of the first questions I'm sure that the Klein ISD spokesperson is asked Justin Elbert when he gets out there to speak to us here at some point. We're coming up here on 3 o'clock. We got word a little while ago there had been an explosion in the cafeteria at Klein Forest High School it's in Harris County, unincorporated Harris County. The initial reports were it was a firework. We didn't think too much of it. Then we heard that they had evacuated the school, canceled classes, canceled after school activities, and were sending all the kids home. Started to think maybe this was something a bit more. And then we heard federal agents were involved. Then we heard it was a mortar type firework in a bag that went off inside the cafeteria there. So this has kind of gotten more serious a little bit each time we check back in and get more information on it. And now we see a heavy law enforcement presence, fire trucks, ambulances, 3 minor injuries, people treated and released. Don't know if they were school staff or students. Can't tell you for sure when this happened that there were even kids in the cafeteria. Don't know. Haven't had that confirmed yet. Know that this went off in the cafeteria, but that could have just been school staff in there at that point preparing for lunch. I don't know. That'll be a question we ask about the 3 injuries and if kids were in this room in the cafeteria when that explosion happened earlier today. Now, Brett Buffington telling us that, now he says both people hurt in the explosion are students, sources confirm, neither taken to the hospital. The Chronicle's reporting 3 people were hurt according to the fire marshal's office, and Klein ISD says 3 injuries treated and released. Brett's reporting that 2 people hurt are students. I don't know what to tell you about the 3rd at this point. Yes?
The only new piece of information we have is that as standard procedure, SWAT is now going through the hallways of the school.
Okay, thank you. Randy Klein telling us that standard procedure here, just what they do every time when something like this happens, but SWAT is on scene, going through the hallways into the classrooms, just clearing it, making sure that there's nobody in there that could cause harm, but also that there are no other fireworks, other devices that may be lying around, that whoever did this in the cafeteria didn't maybe do it somewhere else on campus. So that was the reason to get all the kids out of there, get all the staff out of there, and now SWAT is going through the school room by room just to make sure everything is okay. We have no indication that there's any kind of danger out there at this point. It's just what SWAT does in a situation like this out of an abundance of caution, given the times we live in and what's happened on school campuses so many times before. They just don't take any chances anymore when something like this happens. This may turn out to just be a high school prank. Quite frankly, we don't know. Could be something a lot more serious than that, and could be anything in between. But these days, they take no chances, and they're going to make sure that everything is okay and that this wasn't something intended to seriously hurt students or staff on campus. First day back to school after the 2+ week Christmas break. A lot of kids back in school today. And at Klein Forest, those kids had about a half day today. They are headed home on buses, walking home, or getting picked up by their parents. All right, we've lost our signal there from Klein Forest High School. I'm Russ Lewis here in the KHOU newsroom. We've been following this situation there, the explosion on campus, a firework, some sort of mortar type firework that exploded in a bag in the cafeteria. 3 injured, minor injuries, we're told, at least 2 students, but everybody treated and released at the scene, and now the kids are heading home, school canceled for the day at Klein Forest. What we're going to do right now is we're just going to let it go from here, but we are waiting on the school district spokesperson and maybe some law enforcement or investigators as well. We don't know, but we're waiting on Justin Elbert from Klein ISD to tell us a little more about what happened out there at the high school today. We're going to keep an eye on that. As soon as he is ready to come before the cameras and tell us what's going on, we will break back in here. If you are watching on our app, if you haven't used the push alert notifications, if you haven't gone into the settings and done that, I recommend you do so. That's a way for you to get an alert from us when we're about to go on live like this during a breaking news situation, so you can watch from the beginning and not catch us, midstream on something like this. So we don't do it that often. We're not going to bother you a lot with push alerts, but it's a great way to, in the settings, to set push alert notifications on so you get notified when something like this happens and we're breaking in with live updates. So we'll get back to you just as soon as that press conference starts. And of course, we'll have the very latest for you on the 411 coming up here in less than an hour on the TV side. I'm Russ Lewis. We'll see you soon.